This is Joanna. Joanna is a transformational life coach helping women connect their power and purpose. Joanna believes that by working with the whole self, we are able to build solid and healthy foundation from which we can thrive and build lives we love. I think we all need that. She is also a certified holistic health coach and an EFT practitioner. So we are so happy to have you today. Thank you for joining us. And go ahead. Did you have any slides today? Can't remember.
I don't have any slides.
Nope, that's okay. I just want to make sure.
More of a chatter.
All right, take it away.
Perfect. Well, first of all, thank you all for being here. I'm so honored to have your time and be part of this summit. So thank you. What I wanted to speak about a little bit today was honoring yourself where you are at and meeting that person with compassion. I think that often we don't really stop and think like, where am I right now? Like there's so much noise going on around us that it's hard to tune in and figure out what it is that we need to make ourselves feel better. So around that idea, I think it's important to sort of get clear around what you need in the moment, take inspired action, and then finding power in like the small steps. So those are kind of the points that I will break down for you a little bit today. And the reason I wanted to speak on this is because with my clients, a lot of the pain points and issues that I feel come up consistently are, I feel like I should be doing more. I should be doing this. I should. This person's doing that. I should do that. So there's a lot of comparison going on. And that sort of disconnects us from what we need and what we, like our inner knowing. So there's that. I feel like I'm failing because I should be doing more, or I feel like I'm failing. There's a lot of feeling of failure. And again, that comes from the comparison often. I mean, there's many reasons, but I find comparison is one of them. And then the overwhelm, feeling like there's so much going on all the time. There's so much I want to achieve. There's so much I want to do. And then the overwhelm kicks in and all of it seems insurmountable. And so by breaking it down into the moments, we can meet all those goals, do all those things, but take it block by block, moment by moment. So that's sort of the general idea of where I'm at and what I think is some of the most powerful stuff that you can be doing for yourself at the moment. The first step, I think, is getting clarity around what it is that you need in the moment. And this one's sort of trickier for me to talk about because you can get clarity around like your long-term goals. You can get clarity around short-term goals. But what I want to do for this is kind of just stick to in the moment. It's great to have a vision for where you want to go. And you can always hold that vision, but you're living in the now. So it's about connecting to what you need in the moment. So taking stock of where you're at and honestly stopping and asking yourself, what do I need in this moment? Whether it's, what do I need to achieve? Or what do I need to do to support myself in this moment? And I ask myself that a lot because it battles the overwhelm. You know, if you have a million things to do each day, and then sometimes you find yourself flailing, like stop, what do I need to do? I need to make a list. Or I'm so overwhelmed, I feel so disconnected, I need to go outside for 15 minutes. And I know that you're like, well, that's not helping me achieve my goal if I go outside, but it is, because it just slows you down and it reconnects you to what you need to do. And then you can kind of get back on track. So getting clarity around what you need, and then really tuning in to what it is that it's what you need. So this is where the comparison piece comes in. We spend so much time comparing ourselves to others, and it's not our fault. It is where we're kind of at with society and social media. We're also aware of that and the scrolling and the comparing. And so I find that it just really doesn't serve to compare. If you want to get inspiration from somebody, that's totally different. And there's so many inspiring people that I follow, that I surround myself with, that I want to take bits and bobs from their life because it serves me and they inspire me. That's great. But that is very, very different from comparing yourself and measuring yourself by somebody else's standards, and then thinking that that's the way that you're supposed to operate. You know nothing about the people's stories often. You know little like highlight reels of what you follow. But also, a lot of people that we compare ourselves to, you're comparing, like they may be an expert in their field. And maybe they're a fitness expert. And then you've got a super mom, and you've got a powerful businesswoman, and you're following all these people and they're experts in the field, and that's what you're following them for. But then if you're comparing yourself to these 50 people in their area of expertise, that's very confusing for your mind, because how are you supposed to operate at that level in all those areas? So it's very important to consider like how you're comparing and what you're comparing to. You have your own unique journey. It's beautiful. And by comparing, it's almost like you're not honoring where you are at and what you need to do and your journey. So inspiration is great, but comparison isn't. It's actually the thief of joy, because every time you compare to somebody else and feel that you're not measuring up, you're taking away something from yourself. So I really urge you, like an action point that you can do for this is to, again, stop and think when you're starting to compare yourself to others. How is this serving me? How does this make me feel? And what am I gaining from it? And typically it's, I don't feel very good and I'm gaining nothing from it. So what is the small action step I can do to stop? And maybe it's unfollowing accounts that make you feel bad, or maybe it's spending less time on social media, or maybe it's, if like mom friends are telling you something, it's about acknowledging them, but not internalizing everything they're doing. So that comparison is a big piece. And then another comparison piece that we don't always think about is comparing to an earlier version of yourself. We are consistently being like, especially I find with new moms, and because I'm one, I have a 13-month-old, I've been through a lot of this, and it applies to you even if you're not a parent, but especially if you're a parent. You think about all this time you used to have, this body you used to have, like all these things that are in the past, and you expect that to be your reality now. But so much has changed, and that's so beautiful. Like, why do you need to be that version of yourself? Because it's in the past, and it's not really serving you to compare to it. You can obviously be like, I want to exercise more to get my body back to what it should be now, but feeling like you're not measuring up to this person you used to be, it doesn't make sense, because you're living in the moment and it's pulling you away from that, So I find that the comparison to yourself is also something to really watch for. You've changed, you've evolved, that's beautiful. So meet yourself where you're at today, which connects back to the point, what do I need in this moment? Just like a personal example around this is when I first had Lewis, I felt so much guilt about not going to work and pulling in my paycheck that it, for the first 3 months, caused me so much anxiety, because I was like, I should be doing this. I used to bring in this amount of money and now I'm on EI. And I was very, very stressed by it. And obviously, it didn't rob me entirely of beautiful memories for the first 3 months, but it really took away some joy, because I was so stressed out. Every time he would sleep, I would be like, okay, what can I do to like move the needle today? And it was kind of burning me out and making me feel anxious a lot. And when I realized that, I was able to pull myself back to the present moment. And it's like, what do I need? Well, I have a baby who only likes to sleep when I hold him. And you know what? For the next few months, that's okay. So I started taking naps with him, holding him. And that is what I needed in the moment, because I was able to like connect to him, relax, and stop stressing about this other version of myself that it's not like in the present moment. So I just think it's like meeting yourself with compassion at where you're at today, even if you want to hold the vision of where you need to go. And then once you've sort of met yourself where you are, truthfully, with no judgment, with compassion, it's what inspired action can I now take, knowing what I need? And so I've used the examples before of going for a walk or making a list. And you're like, but Joanna, those don't move the needle. But they do. It's like every little inspired action is a building block that you are creating for the foundation that you are building things on from which you're going to thrive. And if you don't pay attention to these small little blocks, they become rocky. And then you're like, but I want to do this, but your foundation isn't strong. And so if you methodically and like with your attention, lay them down and pay attention to what you're doing each and every day in the moments, that's where the foundation comes from that you can build on. And then when it gets a little rocky up here because you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, that's okay, because you know these tools are right here for me to solidify and like balance me out. So the small steps are where the power happens. There's a quote that I love that's every overnight success is 10 years in the making, because it's true, whether you're relating it to your personal life, like your parenting, your own business. It doesn't just have to be an overnight success in the business world. It's like, look at that person. She's so comfortable in her body. She's so happy. She's so joyful. It's because you're taking these little steps each and every day, laying this very powerful foundation for yourself. So once you've tuned into what you need in this moment, it's take the inspired action. You know, I'm so overwhelmed. I feel this way. I'm exhausted. Maybe you need rest. But, you know, if your goal is to be running a marathon in 2 months and you're like, I'm feeling a bit lazy in this, like, what's your inspired action? It's not, oh, I always need rest. I'm not saying that rest is always the answer. It's like, be honest with yourself. What do you need? I need a little bit of a nudge. I need to push myself, or I need to pull back. But just spend a little bit of time around what the inspired action for you is, not what other people are doing. Because when you aren't in alignment with what you need, when you aren't in alignment with what your inner knowing, with what your soul, what your purpose, your passion, and you are trying to push forward by doing what you think you should be doing because you see other people doing it for them, it's hard work. If you're not in alignment, it's hard. When you're in alignment, even the hard things feel easier because you're moving in a way that serves you. So small steps are powerful if you're listening to what it is that you need. And also it speaks back to the overwhelm. When you try to take everything on all at once, it's too overwhelming. Like, nobody can do that. You can't be everything in one moment. So break it down to the smaller steps and you can still achieve all those things, but take inspired action sort of in segments, listening to what you need. And then really beyond that, it is just recognizing that the power in those small steps and not discrediting them. Even a small step of like, I operate better when I'm super hydrated, which is basically a truth for everybody. It's like, yes, I do this every day because I feel good. It's not this like blasé thing that you just do, or I have to chug my water because. It's like, this honors my body. This helps me feel good. So I do this each and every day. So whatever it is, acknowledge those building blocks and honor them no matter how small they are. It's very important. As simple as like, I love lighting a candle every day when I have a shower. It's a simple way to bring some kind of like luxury into my life that doesn't take any more time. Like, I'm showering, but it's like this ritual, and it's not blasé or too small. It's helping me achieve my goals because I set up my day feeling good with a tiny action. So I just want to leave you with really some action steps, because this is a lot of like conceptual stuff. So what is it that you can do? It's really quiet down the noise, let go of the comparison, and ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? And then what is one step I can take right now to support myself around that? you do that over and over and over and over again, and like, you're golden. It's all yours. So really, those are the action steps. And then a couple journal prompts that I have, that if you want to take this a step higher, so you're like, okay, this is in the moment, but how do I start moving towards bigger goals that I have? It's, where am I at today? Where do I want to be? What is holding me back? And what is something I can do today to shift that? So you can apply it to the moment, and you can also apply it to a bigger picture. And with that, I highly recommend journaling around that, just because your thoughts can go in so many directions when you're applying it to a bigger picture. So to get it down on paper is a really nice way to help you get clarity around what it is you need. So really, that's what I wanted to share with you today, is that honoring your journey. And like, it's beautiful, even when you're struggling, let's say as a new mom, like it was so hard, but it's so beautiful because you're learning so much and you're evolving. And so lean into the discomfort and support yourself at the same time, I think is just my biggest message to you would be, stop. And what do I need in this moment? And if that's all you take away from today, then I think that that's beautiful. Or today from my talk.
Wow, powerful. Love. Can you just quickly, sorry, just for others to repeat those the journal prompts that you mentioned again?
Yes, absolutely. So the journal prompts is, where am I at today? Where do I want to be? What is holding me back from getting from A to B, or what is in my way, or what needs to happen? And then what is one small step I can take today to move towards that?
Perfect. I love it. Like, all of this just makes me feel so much calmer. This has been great. I mean, this is the theme of this summit today. And really what it's about is listening to yourself, and not comparing yourself to others, right? I think that is huge. And I love too, you brought up the piece about, well, a couple things. Comparing yourself to others. Yes, we know on social media, we're seeing everyone's highlight reel. But really, when you said comparing yourself to your past self, that really, really made me think, wow, you're right. Like, I'm not my 20-year-old self or my 25-year-old self. So that was really, really good to hear. And sometimes we know these things kind of unconsciously, but to hear you say it was great. And then to like the mom comparison, especially in the world we live in now, like I think it's always been there, right? But with social media and the way it is now, you know, working in public health and in the well child clinics, like I saw so much of that, and it was so sad, you know?
Yeah, to add on that, like yesterday I have a client that I'm working with, and yesterday we spent our entire session, she's a new mom with a 3-month-old baby, talking about the comparison. And that literally was what we just uncovered, was what was causing her the most anxiety in parenting, was the comparison to other moms and also what other babies are doing. So, you know, it's a very real issue that is not serving anybody.
Yeah. And because, you know, I always say it's we're fortunate to have access to as much information as we do now, but we're also unfortunate because of the fact, like, I've seen family members with new babies go through it, and you're looking for everything because you want to be the perfect mom and the, you know, perfect wife and do it all, like you said. And yeah, that is really robbing people of the joys of, you know, the beginning of being a new mom and having.
Absolutely. Yeah, don't even get me started on being the perfect something. It's just, yeah, I'm real passionate about that as well.
Yeah, no, it's great. This is what it's funny, everyone has touched a little bit on that, right? Because we all know deep down that comparison is just, it's toxic, really.
Yeah.
So a couple questions. Number one, what So what does working with you look like? So if someone wanted to work with you, it's like, oh, okay, great. This sounds amazing, but what does that involve?
Yeah, so it's different for every client, depending on what your goals are, obviously. But typically we start with a 3-month commitment to each other and meet weekly. And in the beginning, we do a bit of like more self-exploration, understanding like what it is you really want to achieve. And again, it's like peeling away those layers of what you think you should be achieving and getting like really to the point of what you are looking to achieve. And that can be in your life or health goals as well. And because I treat the whole person, because I just don't feel that you can explore one area without really looking at other areas too. And so, yeah, it's usually working together for the 3 months, and then I'm there to sort of support whenever you need that in between our sessions, and we just kind of break it down and make powerful steps towards what it is that you want, and adjust and kind of tweak as we go. I'm also an EFT practitioner, which is tapping. So if a lot of clients love doing that too, which helps with releasing limiting beliefs or blocks or anxiety, or really anchoring to a vision or a desire. It's a really gentle but powerful tool to just kind of help quiet the noise as well. So yeah, typically it's a 3-month journey together, and then we just uncover lots of good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, I'm calling you. So next question. Yeah, can you help me even if I don't know exactly what it is I want to work on or achieve? They just want to chat.
Yeah, that's one I get quite often, because sometimes you have this nagging feeling like I'm made for more, or I'm just unhappy, but everything is perfect on paper, so I shouldn't feel this way. And I don't know what it is, but I need to change something. And that happens a lot. And then you think, oh, well, I can't go to see somebody because I don't know what it is. And I don't have these action points or this plan. And that is completely fine, because that is what we do together. Like, that's part of the self-exploration, is figuring out what it is that you need to uncover, or where in your life you feel you need more connection to purpose, or I don't feel good in my body but I don't know why. And we kind of work on that together. So you don't have to have your list of issues or your list of goals or desires figured out. I know that I need something more. I want to support myself is just a beautiful enough reason to want to begin this journey together, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And last question. And you did give us a little bit of tips, but what is one thing we can all start doing today?
Yeah. So I think really it comes back to, what do I need in this moment? And just continually checking in with that. You know, if I wasn't comparing, if I wasn't worried about being judged, if I didn't think that I had to achieve it all, what do I need in this moment to make me feel good, or to make me feel supported, or to move towards what I want? You know, it's just tuning in for those moments throughout your day to just recalibrate and reconnect, I think, is the biggest thing that you can do for yourself. And drink water. Drink lots of water.
Drink water, yes. Background. Yeah, and you know what, I think, just going back to when you did touch on that, like, what can I do for myself today and what do I need? I thought it was interesting, and it made a lot of sense that be honest with yourself, because yes, we might think to ourselves, I need to rest, or right. And like you said, I just love how you put it, and I can't remember exactly how you put it, but like, listen to yourself. Do you actually need to rest, or do you need a little bit of a push, right?
Yes. I mean, I do talk about this quite a bit too, is that there's a lot of talk around self-care, and I'm a huge advocate for self-care, but it doesn't always mean like face masks and laying down. sometimes self-care is kicking yourself in the butt and getting outside and going for a walk. Sometimes self-care is doing the hard things to prove to yourself you can, or to overcome things. So I love face masks, I love spas, I love rest, but sometimes I'm like, no, no, no. I need to get on that mat and do that movement. And that's hard, but that's what I need.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so great. And lastly, just to sum it up, give a sentence or so, what does living beautiful mean to you?
Living beautiful to me means honoring myself for all that I've been through and all that I do, and just meeting myself where I'm at each and every day. Really, connecting to myself.
Perfect. Okay, I'm just going to share your last screen here so we can have some of the details if people want to get in touch with you.
Absolutely.
So, obviously, like most of us, they have the opportunity to book a consultation just to chat and just decide if it's the right partnership, I guess you could say. What's the best way for them to get a hold of you? Would you say, like?
Honestly, either Instagram or email. I mean, I'm on email all the time, so that would be the easiest way to get in touch with me, whichever of those methods you prefer. I'm in them at least once or twice a day, so I'm happy to connect in whatever way feels good for you. And I did just want to say, because I've shared with my tribe, if that's okay, I had opened up my 3-month coaching. I had 3 spots available this week, and I'm offering it at 30% off. I have 1 spot left. Until the end of today. I sort of opened it up for those people that just want to get started now and are kind of tired of waiting. So I do have 1 spot left for 3 months at 30% off. And I just thought I would share that with you, because it seems that it's divine timing and I'm on this. So
exactly.
That gift is there if anybody feels called.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's perfect. I'm sure you're going to have lots of people contacting you after this. And yes, I also follow you on Instagram, and again, love your posts, super inspirational. And I mean, there's just nothing better when you can follow someone and they just make you feel good about yourself and where you are now. So if you do have Instagram, definitely give her a follow. So
yeah.
Well, thank you so much. You've been busy. Like you said, you also just opened your store. Oh my gosh, the name is totally
called Drift and Sonder.
Drift and Sonder.
In Fernie. Yeah, it's a lifestyle and refillery shop. So we opened our doors this morning, and it's been amazing. It's been great. So we're really excited about that as well.
Yay, good. I'm so excited for you. And if they're interested in that too, I know they can find that information on Instagram.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor to be here.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to have had you here. And yeah, we will be in touch. Absolutely. Okay, take care, Joanna.
Bye-bye.
Okay, next up, we have Kelsey. Okay, so this is Kelsey. Super excited to have her with us today. She is an experienced certified personal fitness trainer and, oh, sorry, I didn't read this beforehand, NASM nutrition coach. So coaching along with the fitness, or nutrition along with the fitness. And she's the owner of Alberta Fitness, which is located in St. Albert. She really respects that everyone has different strengths and abilities and aims to challenge them to become their strongest, healthiest versions of themselves. So really excited to have you chat. We are all listening, so take it away.
But basically today I just wanted to talk to you about my tips on kind of how to stay on the wagon. I know that it's really hard. It's January. Okay, there's a lot of expectations out there that we put on ourselves. And it's not easy when you're trying to make health changes. You know, if it was so easy, everybody would be walking around with their 6-packs and, you know, kissing the guns, right? But it's not that way, and it takes commitment, and it takes a lot of planning for there to be success that is sustainable. For me, the key is sustaining your changes, because I think a lot of people kind of go in this wave, and it's really hard to kind of stay consistent if you don't have a plan. So for me, planning is everything. So that's what I kind of want to talk to you about today, is how to stay on and stay motivated. Obviously, January, like I have here, is that people make a lot of plans, and it's sometimes really hard to follow through. In the beginning, you are full of motivation. You're like got your everything, your workouts ready, and your accountability partner, and you've got a plan. And a few weeks later, it dips, and then it's like life kind of starts to take over, and your motivation drops, and your commitment and your everything just kind of takes a little bit of a drop. And then you kind of get left feeling with defeat and feelings of failure, and that's really hard, because it stops us from progress. And so I want to share to you today my tips on how you can kind of keep up that motivation, what you can do to stop those feelings of defeat. So figuring out your why is really, really important. I think we've heard that a lot today. That's something that everybody's kind of been touching on. For your fitness changes, it is important. Like, you need to know truly in yourself why you want to make the change. Sometimes if it's superficial, it doesn't seem to last. But if you really sit down and think with yourself and take the time, maybe you want more energy, and it can be a lot of things. If you want energy, because a lot of people just feel tired of feeling sick and tired. And especially right now with COVID, I think everybody's in a place that we've never had to be before. There's so many restrictions. There's a lot of Netflix binging. Okay, that is happening. It's a thing. You may want to feel stronger. You want muscles. You just want to look better and feel better. Find that place where you were maybe in your past, although you won't be there again as things change. But kind of get that feeling of when you felt strong. If you want to feel happier, I think that's really important. Exercise is one of the best shifters for mood. When I've been feeling, struggling in this past year, like with COVID and my business having to be shut down, that it's been hard. If I didn't have exercise, I don't know what I would have done, because no matter what, there has never been a workout that I've done that after I was like, man, I wish I never did that. That was terrible. Like never, not once ever in all of these years, right?
That's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, but you have to just get there. And sometimes, like Joanna was just saying, you need someone to kick you in the butt, and you have to get there. You have to just put yourself on robot mode and get your butt downstairs or to your gym when it opens, or wherever you have to go. So I think it's really important to obviously figure that out, and it can be a list of all of the things that you need on that list of why you're wanting to make these changes. And I recommend like putting them places that you're going to see them often, to remind yourself, so that if you want to put up pictures, that's great too, just to kind of keep your head in the game. Step 2 for me is a big one. Building your accountability army, I call it. So number 1 is always we have to be accountable to ourselves. And that's hard sometimes. So sometimes you might need a little bit of help, and you hire a trainer or something like that. But also, like, building that support network around you is really important when you're trying to make changes. It's really hard if you have a partner or like a spouse or people in your life that aren't kind of going in the same direction. It can be really hard to maintain. You're sitting there making these health changes, and your friend right there is sitting there, eating the pizza that you really want to eat, or like laying on the couch, just chill, relaxing. So to kind of share with everybody in your life that these are your goals, these are your plans, and you really want their support. Okay, so I hear a lot of times people at work, Susie's just baked like a cherry pie, and bringing her delicious homemade muffins to work, and they're like right there, and you can smell them. It's hard. Okay, those are the times when you have to just like dig deep, put the blinders on, move to a different cubicle. But so that's really important, is just to let those people know in your life, listen, help me out here. Um, and then, you know, you'll be surprised that how many people you will inspire. You know, I have a lady that I've worked with for a while, and she made huge changes, and it was so incredible. And she let everybody at her office know, I need you to not bring me snacks, right? And you know, people started to take notice and be like, wow, like I love this attitude, and it rubs off, right? And it really creates this awesome energy around everybody. And I think so you have no idea the ripple effect that you can have. So I think that's really important, is just to kind of let everybody know and inspire them. Um, the other big thing is to create a plan. Okay, it's almost like if you're opening up a business, you need to create a plan. You need a business plan, right? The same thing is for you when when you have a vision and you want to create something for yourself, you need to kind of draw it out, map it out. So I always say, like, a lot of you have probably heard of the SMART goals. Okay, it's being like specific, knowing like what you want to do exactly, making your list, being able to measure how you're going to do that and how you're going to reach that goal. And is it something that's attainable and achievable? Like, is it possible to accomplish? Can you go hike Mount Kilimanjaro? Can you do the West Coast Trail? Whatever it is that you want to do. And realistic, kind of, they mesh a little bit, those ones. But just to be honest with yourself, if you're making like a realistic goal, being realistic is really important. And then timing, like, when do you want to accomplish this goal? You need to be very specific about how you want to reach these. So just diving into those a little bit more. So for instance, like if I wanted to run a race, that's everything that I'm just going to use that one as my example here on this slide, is that I want to run the Run Wild 10K in May. So I've got a few months to do that, right? I'm going to probably, would be a good idea to get one of these nice handy Fitbits, okay? So some type of device to track, okay, that you can see how far the distance, your improvements, like how much energy you're burning. Taking before and after pictures is really important. I think that's like a really great way to track measurements. I think probably like you, like ditch the scale, and like go for things that, like, not numbers, like just the measurements, how things are fitting. That is key. And I think for me, and I'll get to that a little bit later, but that's something kind of dear to my heart there. Also attainable, like how are you going to get to that goal? What do you need to do in order to make that happen? So you're going to commit to exercising so many times a week. You're going to go on, a 5K a few times a week, maybe a longer one on Saturday. You might go to the gym that's, nearby, or down to your basement. I know there's a lot of people now with basement gyms, which is pretty cool. And I think that's awesome. And then you'll have the time to add to your schedule to make that happen for you. And then again, kind of realistic. Is it something that you can really fit into your life? Because you need to really get real with yourself and say these, because you will feel success. If you make goals that are realistic, you can enjoy your successes along the way instead of feeling like you're constantly failing or letting yourself down. And making a health change has nothing to do with that. It's really celebrating all your strengths. So yeah, if you have time to work out before work or on your lunch break or while the kids are doing the homework, make that plan on when you're going to be doing your exercise, because that is probably the number one thing that I hear is I don't have time. So it really boils down to that it's not a huge priority for you. If you really cut the crap with yourself, you will always make time for the things that you want to do, right? For sure. So it is have that honest conversation with yourself and get real about when you're going to do it. It's not always lovely to be waking up at 4:50 or 5 a.m. Sometimes it's painful, but like once you're done, you're up. I'm like, sometimes when I usually have really early morning clients, like 5:30 in the morning. So every single time I think I'm going back to bed after this, like for sure for a nap. I just never do it. I'm like, woo, I'm ready to go, right? So you will feel good. You just got to get there. And then timely, like it's going to be a certain amount of time for me to accomplish this task. So just having those kind of like specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, just make that plan. Like if you have a piece of paper in front of you right now, just write that out. And just right now, think of little things that would be important to be on that list. Okay. Now, so creating the goal list. This is kind of the list within the list, okay? This is really, really important. And for me, this is like really key. So you're going to break down your kind of SMART goals into little bite-sized pieces that are going to help you work towards your goal on a daily basis so that you're always taking action. And that's another thing that everyone's been talking about is taking action. It is true. You just have to get there. Doesn't matter if you don't want to, just take a step, make a decision. So I like to think daily goals, weekly goals, and monthly goals. So for the daily goals, it can be everything from I'm going to take the stairs at work. I'm going to like park far away. I'm going to take the dogs for a walk. Any type of added movement that you can do throughout the day is best. If you're sitting waiting for your coffee and you're staring at it, waiting for it to finish, do 10 squats. Like it's not going to kill you before I go into the shower or something like that. I always do counter push-ups. I don't know why, it's a thing. I'm like how many can I bust out? Like really nice and tight triceps. Like I love it, right? So I always get my clients to do things like that. So just the littlest things make a huge difference. All my kids got pull-up bars for Christmas. They got them all in their doors. I'm like, before you go in there, you got to do a pull-up. Just kidding, but it's been fun. Everything from like you would attest to this, Kelly, counting your sugars throughout the day. Like those added sugars are killer, right? So I think it's little things like that, just kind of being mindful about what you're putting in there. Completing your scheduled workouts. Okay, everybody on this, you must listen to this. You must book yourself in like you are a VIP superstar. Okay, because if you don't book it in, it's like everybody else can come first, and that's not happening right now. So you are making an appointment with yourself, and you're going to put in your calendar. Like I use that Google Calendar, and I have Kelsey's workout. Like that is my time. That is how I take care of myself and not be crazy. So that's important. So you're going to do that, and you're just going to kind of put all the different things that you can think of that you can do during the day that can help you towards your goal. And then you're going to break it down to weekly goals, and that things that you can do on a weekly basis, like meal prep. I mean, you want to fuel your body, obviously, for your fitness. A lot of times people don't fuel enough. I find they start to like exercise really heavy, and then they're like restricting their calories, and their body, it's not getting what it needs, right, to work out that hard. So getting your meal prep done, booking yourself a couple days of the week to work on your body maintenance, like fascial release, just like flexibility. That is really, really key. And just having that time to like restore function in your body, like you're working out so hard and, you know, all of a sudden you got really like tight chest, things are really tight and you don't have the same movement anymore. So like as a weekly goal, I really do recommend like a 1 to 2 body maintenance day. And it's like 15 minutes. There's a really awesome, Kelly Starrett is an incredible coach, and he does a mobility WOD, and it's incredible. So I follow him all the time. So if you ever want to like see some of those things, that's your guy. And then monthly goals. So action steps that you take on that monthly basis. So kind of if you want to, at the very start of the month, like your start of your journey, I want to be able to do 10 push-ups. At the end of the month, you should be working towards that throughout the month. And at the end of that month, you bust out those 10 push-ups and you see like how much strength you have, your strength increases. Like, do you feel stronger in the month? Like, take your monthly photos and your measurements. Like, that's just kind of all of these things. Write them down and break it down like this so that you can see what it's taking to get you there. So if you want your 10 push-ups, you're going to have to work all month to get them, because push-ups aren't easy. And I see a lot of weird ones. Okay, so it's important to work hard. Okay, moving on here. Okay, so take action. This is step 4. Like we were talking about before, you have to get up and do it. Just like be like Nike, just do it. I hope I don't get sued for saying that or something. I was like, anyway. So get a pen and paper out and write out your plan. This is key. So tonight, I want to make a change and you're just sick of where things are right now, writing out your plan is going to make you feel amazing, because you have a goal and you have purpose and you have some structure. That always feels great. And then post it wherever you're going to see it, so you always have that reminder. That's key, is to be able to see it. And then step 5 for me is never stop setting goals. I think that's really important. Once you've mastered those 10 push-ups, let's try maybe a different type of push-up, and let's try and do 10. Let's advance it to like tricep push-ups. Let's be able to do a pull-up. Let's be able to run a race, or keep up with your kids for the full hour. Whatever it is, like big, small, it doesn't matter. But I think you just always kind of challenge yourself and take yourself out of that comfort zone. Do things that freak you out, because that's how you grow. I've done a lot of those, and it is terrifying. This is somewhat terrifying, but I mean, you have to roll with life, right? And just enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. Once you do like accomplish something, one of your goals, set out another one. Just never stop. Don't get comfortable, because that's boring. Okay. This is kind of, this next little bit is really, really important. And if anyone has questions, please, we'll get to them at the end. Don't go too hard too fast. So when you're starting your workout journey, don't like jump into the deep end and all of a sudden you're like trying to get out, and you've lifted, you're going in, you're picking up those 20s, and you're like, you're just killing it, but you really might kill yourself, and you don't want a shoulder injury. So just do your mobility, have a good warm up. Like honestly, take your time and like increase your weight, your resistance, like in small increments, like slowly. Like if you were doing, let's say, 8 to 10 reps of a given exercise, and the last couple are challenging, that's good. That's like safe to say, let's stay there for a little bit. And then when you do it again, maybe a couple of weeks later, if it's like, hey, I can blow through those, I can do probably 15, then it's time to probably increase the weights, like no more than 10%, like 5 to 10% is usually kind of typical once you've kind of reached that plateau and your muscles have adapted. And always, like I said before, include that mobility and maintenance and recovery into your workout schedule. That is really key. A lot of people skip the warm up because it's boring and they just want to get right to it, or they go to the gym and they're like, and they just like watch somebody and doing a couple arm circles and and like just do a couple things and they're ready to go. But you really do need to like warm up your muscles and get your body ready for the movement. Like even if you are just like walking marches, some butt kicks, like just, it doesn't have to be like sprints or anything like that. You just want to warm up slowly, but don't not do that, because it's really important for your body. And then take care of it after. So like I said, some mobility. I've got some amazing like mobility exercises that really, really help you move better. I think the key, as personally for me as a trainer, I want to let my clients move better. It is not about getting them skinny and shredded. I mean, that's always nice, but it's more about like, did I make that person better? Like when they left me, or if they left me, which I mean, I hope, please don't leave me, but did I help them move better? That's really important to me. Are they exercising correctly? I can't say enough about that. For me, form is everything. You can't progress properly, or like you can create imbalances if you aren't doing things properly. And number one, obviously you can injure yourself. So really, if you're not sure, it's important to talk to a professional. Okay, when I go to the gym, sometimes I want to do this. I can't even look because I'm watching somebody do a deadlift and they're like a hunchback and their back is curved, and I'm like, okay, it's about to happen. It's gonna happen, and I can't even believe it. But I can't look because they're putting all this effort in, and it just makes me sad. Like they're doing all of this work, but they just don't have the knowledge just how to put their body in the right position. And if someone could just show them, so just like look online, like Google form if you have to, if you can't hire somebody, but just really think about your form and your position. Kelly Start, again, is just someone that you might want to write down. Also me. And then also just to be sure that you include all of your muscle groups, because that is really important. You don't want to create an imbalance. I know we've all, like, you see the memes of like the guy with the jacked up chest and like skinny little chicken legs. So that's a big thing. Like that's a real thing. So it's not just bench press. You got to include that back. Like that is really important. If you want to like keep your shoulders back and have good posture, you have to kind of, if you work the front of the body, you work the back of the body, right? Like it is all about balance. And reducing injury, because when you do have muscle imbalance, you do have risk for injury because they can't work together properly. Should take a breather. I felt like I'm really going hard here. I should take a sip of water, excuse me. Okay. Also, sorry?
I said it's a workout, right?
It is. I'm parched. Another thing that I think is awesome is cross training. Try everything, do everything. Don't just go to the gym and bicep curls. Like get in there, grab a medicine ball, Google all the things you can do with it. TRX, those are some of my favorite things. Like if I have to build a gym and I only have maybe 3 or 4 things, I want a TRX, I want a BOSU ball, I want a medicine ball, some free weights, maybe a bench. Like that's all you need. And if I had nothing, if I could only choose one thing, I would probably choose a TRX. They are amazing. So just making sure that you're training your endurance, right? That you're like aerobic, you're challenging your cardiovascular system. You're working your strength, your balance. Clients hate when it's balance day, single leg get ups and like, one-legged exercises and they're all over and my balance sucks. Well, yes, but that's why we train it, right? So doing things that maybe are frustrating, that's really important. So just kind of make sure you hit the whole gamut of all of the training possibilities and just mix it up for yourself and mix it up for your body because it always needs some change. So I love a good HIIT workout, just something that's like intense for, so many minutes. That's always fun. And I love group classes as well. That keeps the energy going. Posture, super important. If you're stuck behind a desk all day and your little chest is like, right, their chest muscles are super tight and your back is all like weak and you need to be able to strengthen that back, do some rows, right? Like get that strength so the shoulders come up. That's really important. And your little hip flexors, your hamstrings from sitting all day. There's a lot that you can do to combat these things, and it's really important to be mindful of your posture. One little quick test that I do with clients is I just have them to stand right in front of me, and I don't tell them why because I don't want them to correct anything. So I just say stand there, normally hands to your sides. And what I'm looking for is what do I see of their hands? So if they're standing there and I see this part of their hand like that, it just shows me that their arms are like internally rotated, right? And that they don't have kind of the strength and the flexibility and the mobility for them to go back. If they were, you would see the sides of your hands. So that's just a note to myself that I can see that we need to do a little bit of this, right? And just work on that posture a little bit. Next one, form is everything. I think I got to that one, how important it is to just perform things properly and just get the help, ask. That's really important. And be patient, be kind to yourself. This is a process. And I think it's really important to celebrate the tiniest things, like doing one push-up, that's amazing. Like do one push-up, that's amazing. Not like a head bob thing with a piked bum, I don't know, just a nice neutral spine, your neck and head are aligned, your hands are in the right position, your chest hits, you're smelling that floor. That is what you want to see, right? So I think that's really important, is just to like break it down. I mean, I remember one day back in the day when I couldn't even do one push-up and it was like I was like dying. But now I think it's one of my favorite exercises. I just love the power of a push-up. So just relax and take it slow. Don't dive in and progress, I think. And you know what? Have some fun, because I love having fun when I'm working out. If I have one goal, if someone hates exercise, I'm like, yes, I will transform you. Like that is my goal, is I want them to have fun. Like it's not that I will not give you one of those if you aren't, doing what you need to do, but I want people to smile and enjoy this process, because if they hate it, it's something that's not going to become like a habit or kind of a lifelong, habit, really. So kind of those are my tips. I don't even know what time. Oh, it's time. 1:59. Crushed it.
Woo! Well, Kelsey, not only are you obviously an expert in this field, but you're also a fantastic comedian. Like, I'm laughing. I don't know if you can see me here. I think everyone else can see me. Oh my gosh, that was
awesome.
That was amazing. And like, look at those PowerPoint slides. I love PowerPoint, and I think I need to hire you.
Oh, okay, so I have a confession.
Oh.
It did this for me. I know I can't take credit. I just got to be honest, because I did have a PowerPoint. It didn't look like this, guys. It didn't. So, but then there's this little thing on the end that says like, can we beef this up for you? And I'm like, why, yes. And I touched it and all these options.
Wow.
It's true.
Cool.
So
I need to learn.
Yeah, I love it too.
Oh my gosh. No, amazing. That was fantastic. Kelsey, I love it. Just covered it all. And
awesome.
So smart, and
yes,
you know, it just all makes so much sense. And I loved how you said making time, right?
Yes.
You need to make time, like, because if you don't, it's not going to happen. So that, and then really hitting on the point of as well of you're exercising more, you're trying to build up your stamina and train, but eating less. So many people do that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then they feel like crap.
Yeah, exactly.
And then really, I think too, how you shared about breaking up the goals, right? Like, what is your daily goal, monthly goals, weekly goals? That even for me, like, well, yeah, that makes sense. You know, you don't have one like major goal. It's like, what's your goal?
Yes, bite-sized pieces that we can manage, and like, we can do this, and it's like success every single day. I walk the dog. Yes.
Exactly.
You know, you feel amazing. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And sorry, just again, we're a couple minutes is fine. 2 questions. So if someone asks, my shape is changing, but why is the scale moving? I'm sure everyone asks that.
Yes, it is. And it's really hard for people to wrap their head around that. And the simple part is like a pound is a pound. Fat, muscle, they're both a pound, but muscle is more dense and takes up less space than fat. So your body composition will change and you will look leaner, right? But you may still be the same weight. So I always tell people, especially if you're like a scale obsessed person, just get rid of that scale. Like, honestly, we don't need it. We need to track measurements. So I think that's the key.
Yeah. And that's a great explanation too, right? Instead of just saying, oh, muscle weighs more than fat. No, you're right. It doesn't.
You're changing your body. It's just getting lean.
Exactly. And then, yes, I'm sure this is another question you get asked a lot, especially from women. They want to lift weights, but they don't want to bulk up.
Yeah. So this is not easy to do. So I'm just going to assure everybody that it won't. You are going to probably go into like lifting manageable reps, like between 8 to 15 reps. If you're wanting to get to the Hulk position, you are going to go low reps and really, really heavy. So, I mean, that is a kind of a purpose type of workout. Like, you are training for that specifically. When you're just doing your general fitness and general improvements, you will not bulk up like that, because that's not where, that's not how we have to target your workouts and reps and ranges. So don't worry, you're just going to sculpt.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think a lot of women, they really are truly worried about that. So it's all and building muscle and resistance exercises is so important for so many things, right? And right? Post-menopausal women and resistance, right, is going to help with that.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah.
We won't take up any more time, but thank you so much.
So you're so inspirational. You've probably seen there's a couple comments from a few of your fans that have joined, but I'm so happy. Again, everyone has been phenomenal today. But
yes, it's been amazing.
Yeah, so I'm so grateful to have connected with you or been
Thank you.
matched with you.
Yeah, thanks, Rita.
Yeah. So yes, this is Kelsey's information. Any questions, send her way. I'm sure if they hit up your website, there's a connect.
You bet. Absolutely.
You.
Great.
But
Thank you so much.
thank you, and we will keep in touch. Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care. Okay, so next up we've got Maida from Maida's Touch. She recently finished her bachelor's in business with a focus on marketing and is currently working in IT. She really wanted to be able to still fuel her huge passion for fashion, so she started an Instagram page called Maida's Touch to share her love of being stylish and well put together. And I can definitely attest to that because her and I have worked together when we were going into the office, so I would always ask her for little tips here and there. Her fashion bug started ever since she was working at a high-end department store where she had helped many clients along with regulars. Today, Maida will be sharing her no new clothes for a year journey, as well as her experiences and how to shop better in 2021. So who really doesn't need that? Okay, Maida, take it away.
Well, hi, everybody. Hi, Kelly. Thank you for the great introduction. So as Kelly said, I have been, this challenge is pretty much not buying new clothes for a year, which for me, I would pretty much say I was a shopaholic up until I started this. And this is why I started it, because I needed a break. I needed a purge. So as Kelly introduced, how I started is I've been working in retail before I got this my current job for a number of years, and always worked in women's fashion and women's clothing. And the last one I worked was in a department store. So I actually had regular clientele along with other frequent customers to the store who I actually helped style for events or build wardrobes. So it was part of my job to be on trend and making sure I look presentable, so they know somebody who's helping them is actually a person who can vouch for style. So I think that really, added to my habit of wanting to always look whatever the next trend in the fashion industry really does move really fast. There's a new thing out, there's a new trend out every other month, or even sooner actually. So it got to a point where I had more clothes, or had a lot of clothes in my closet with tags still on, and that kind of bugged me. And I was like, I haven't worn this, and I literally bought this and I wore it once and I don't even remember I had this. Like, there was way too many conversations, way too many times I was saying that. So when the pandemic started, I was working from home. We were all home for pretty much all the time. So I was like, you know what, this is a really good time to try this right now. And I'm pretty sure I came across this challenge on social media, and I was like, this is really interesting, and it will be really challenging because it'll really help me stop. So I was like, okay, I was shopping one day. I was like, this is my last shop. It was end of June. And I was like, starting July 1st, I'm gonna not buy any clothes, July 1st, 2020. And I started an Instagram page along the side to document it and help me be more creative and show my style in a creative way. So I have something to work on and actually display. So yeah, since July 2020, I have not bought any new clothes. And one of the biggest takeaways, or three of the biggest takeaways I've gotten, is limiting myself to the actual whatever I have in the clothing. I found out there's literally thousands of combinations that I can make from my clothing. What I have to do is think outside of the box, and not just this box, because I have the whole internet on my hand. I literally follow so many people who do the same thing. And so whatever I can't think of, whatever I don't have, okay, how do I style this leopard print skirt? I was like, okay, somebody else did it this way, and if this doesn't match my style, I can always try to get an idea and work it in a similar way that does match my style and my preference. So that's one of the biggest things. Second, I literally do not need this many clothes anyways, and my closet has never looked cleaner, because now I actually have a flow. I know which thing I can wear, what I can wear with what, because I've practiced and I've limited to myself to what I currently have. So that's a biggest thing, because you're not thinking about, oh, what can I buy that will look good with this? So yeah, don't look at those ads. Don't look at your promotional emails. Just delete them. You don't need that many clothes. And if you are really feeling that if you're in the store, well, we don't go to stores as much anymore. Online shopping is just as dangerous, if not worse. But if you really think you need something right now, just walk away from it, or just close your app or close your browser and then come back to it a week later. Do you still want it? Then, you know, maybe you really do. You still want it. So that really helped me too. Because I knew I just don't need to buy any more new clothes, so I didn't feel the urge. So it's also about the mindset and stuff. And lastly, by learning how to restyle my current clothes, I've also seen what I need and what doesn't match my style anymore. So some things I'm like, okay, this thing really doesn't suit me. This thing I just bought because maybe it was cheap, maybe it was on sale, maybe I thought it looked good at that time, or maybe it was on trend that time. How short-lived those are. So I know that's not my style. And then I've also seen the holes that in my wardrobe that I know I really want those things, but I just and I wanted them since I started the challenge. So I know for sure those things I want to have in a capsule wardrobe. It's called that. You have a couple things that you wear over and over again. So now I know for sure I really want a long brown camel coat when I end this challenge. So I know that's one of the first things I will be buying. Probably not in the mid of summer next year, but near the fall next year. So yeah, that was exactly. And that was my little message from what I've done so far. I'm a little over halfway through, and it went by way faster because I think the time I chose with the pandemic is a little bit easier compared to if I was going out every day.
Yeah, absolutely right. And us being attached to the mall downtown.
Oh yeah, it's way too easy.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, this is so helpful to so many of us.
Oh, I'm glad.
Closet of clothing that me, I just have no idea what I'm doing with it or how to dress or anything like that. So, so no, that really makes a lot of sense. We got a couple of questions here.
Mm-hmm.
So, we kind of talked about it already, but I don't know if you want to expand a little bit on more about why you decided to do this challenge. I mean, we talked about consuming less and, all of that, but is there anything you want to expand on there?
Yeah, also because I was buying so many clothes, sometimes I didn't know what to do with them. And I have recently been searching. So as I said, some clothes I know I don't wear anymore. And I know I've been recently searching stores other than the Value Village, or where I can donate to women's shelters or some other people who are in need who can use these clothes because they're not in bad conditions. They're perfectly fine. I just don't wear them. I'm privileged enough to say that. So I can give it to better places than the Value Village. Not that Value Village isn't good, but there's other donations who don't sell them to give it to people. And annually, this is a 2019 study. The Canadians annually throw out about 81 tons of clothing, and it goes to landfill. So that's one of the biggest things because, we have to take care of our planet, and it's pretty real. So that was another one of my driving forces, is that trying to reduce my own consumption and trying to reduce my own impact by however small of a step I can take. And it actually made me stress that the amount of clothing I had, and I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense because I think a lot of people, they want to do better for the environment, and to be like, thought of that. I never thought of clothing as, having this impact. I mean, yes, it makes sense now that you say it out loud, but I think it's something that people don't necessarily think about. And that was a Canadian stat. So imagine other countries.
Exactly. And not even considering, the production costs, like the water goes into making these clothes. So that's a whole other tangent, but I'll leave it there.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's good. I'm sure that's something that a lot of people would like to know more about. So yeah, let us know. And, really overall, what have you learned so far? I mean, it's been, 6 months, just over 6 months?
Yeah, just over 6 months. So I'm just over halfway. Yeah. Definitely, bottom line, I don't need this many clothes. Trends are short-lived. Do not get distracted by the sale word, because it's a retail cycle. It's literally the retail, how it works. Like, they need to get rid of that stuff, so they need to put it on sale. You don't need everything that goes on sale. For me, for sure, and anybody else. Like, some sales, yes, they are worth, if you really want that item, yes, they are worth going after, but not every sale.
Yeah, you're right. And haven't you noticed, though, I don't know, the really high-end or designer brand stuff doesn't
go on sale.
No, not as much. And yeah, exactly. So maybe that could be a goal, you know. You have, if you spend, so quality over quantity, you don't buy a lot of cheaper things, but you save up for one big thing that you can be like, oh, this is a really quality, you know, sustainable quality fabric from a good company, and you pay a little bit more, but you don't spend a lot on little things.
Yeah, I think that's great advice too, because I've noticed even just the fact that a lot of the higher end brands, whether it's a purse or a jacket or, you know, kind of those main staples, I guess you could call them, in your wardrobe, they actually don't change. Like, they're more of like a classic style.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's funny, like the more expensive brands tend to kind of stick with classic.
exactly. Like, that's called the capsule wardrobe. You only have a certain amount of pieces that you use to recreate stuff. It's a concept, and a lot of people follow it.
Oh, that's a new, I haven't heard that before.
Very interesting.
Yeah, perfect. And yes, I think that kind of ties in the next question about how do you reduce your temptation for the sales. I noticed too with some of the stores and some of the trendier stores, I guess they have this advertisement of 70% off, or or up to 7. That's the key. It's always two. And then when you actually, like, I bought my long camel wool coat years ago now, and it was on sale. And then when I actually looked, got it home and looked at what the regular price was to what I paid, I saved $18.
Yeah. So see, was it really a huge sale? So it's the word that really, in the bright red and white, right? Obviously, it's going to be your face. So that's what the point is. So there's several other ways to track if something you really want. There's technology, and even shopping has been enhanced a lot with technology. There's actually apps you can use on your browser, on your phone, that alert you if something you want goes on sale. So you're not looking at every other sale, but you're looking at the item that you want when that goes on sale. It's called Shop Tagger, if anyone's interested.
Shop Tagger?
Shop Tagger, Taggr, I believe. Okay. Google it, you'll probably see it.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good to know, right? Because otherwise, if you're constantly scrolling
it's never ending.
Yeah, and you just get taken off to different areas, and before you know it, you're buying all that stuff. So
exactly.
That makes sense. And this is great, with even just you talking about these different technologies, right, that are out there, because I have not grown up with technology, and some of these things aren't second nature to me. So I love that you share these tips as well for a lot of us who wouldn't think of that. I wouldn't. Any other tips that any other favorite tips to shop better?
Yes. So these, I feel like I've heard and I've practiced and I've lived more by them this year than any other. So when you're buying clothes or a new item, make sure it works with at least 3 outfits. So at least 3, so you know, and if it doesn't work, then it's not worth it. And don't buy the item, buy the outfit. So when you're buying something like a shirt, so make sure what else you can wear it under, over, with. Make sure you cover all 3 and at least 3 outfits. So you're not just adding to your closet, but you're adding to your wardrobe an actual outfit. So you know how to wear it.
Okay.
Right?
So not like buying that one item and then thinking about all the things you have to buy to go with it. Because that's
exactly, whatever you have at home, how you can use that to buy it, right? So secondly, if you're buying something, you bought something new and you're like, okay, well, how do I wear it? Don't wear it right before your event. And if you bought it for something, maybe practice at home, wear it at home, do your own thing, take a picture and see how you like it. And don't take the tags off until you actually wear an item. So you never know what might happen. You can find the item cheaper, you can find something similar you like more, you change your mind. Don't actually take the tag off until you're about to wear, or you're wearing it, just snip it. So, well, don't forget to snip it, but snip it when you actually, before you wear it. So
yeah, just
in case something happens, you can still return it. So you're not left with something because you didn't have the tag on. So that sucks. And third, right? And then including the technology tip before, there's another browser extension called Honey. So Honey is a little thingy. It's an H. It's an orange and white H, and you can Google it too. And it sits on your browser. Google Chrome, I know it works with. So, and if you're on a website, even Amazon, most of the major websites, when you go to checkout, it'll run all the major codes that are working for that website, and most of the time the code, and it'll apply those codes for you automatically at the checkout page. So it's like a coupon code that the little extension applies for you. So then even if you don't have to, who has time to memorize code and save codes anymore? So I've used that, and so that's why I don't shop on my phone as much. I love going on my browser so that I can use Honey. So even if it's like $10, that equals free shipping pretty much. So that's a really good extension. It's called Honey.
Honey.
Really useful for me this year.
It's spelled normal, Honey.
Yep. And it's orange and white, so you'll remember that. And lastly, as I said about, restyling your clothes, and if you don't have the inspiration, just look at social media, look at somebody else, observe how other people are wearing something. If you see ripped jeans around all the time, if you see pleated skirts around all the time, how is somebody wearing them? Are they wearing it with sneakers? Are they wearing it with a bootie? Are you a sneaker person? Are you a bootie person? And test it at home. Just if you have free time, just go in front of your mirror, take a picture. Yeah. That's what I do more often. So and to try thrifting. It is overwhelming, but a lot of thrift shops have also put their stuff on their website, so they have an online whole inventory you can go through. So it could be overwhelming, so just maybe search by the specific item you're going for. So and then you can also follow the 1 in, 1 out rule. So if you have a new clothing or new item, could be a purse or whatever, make sure you donate another in exchange, so you have the balance.
Great idea. Yeah, those are great tips. I was gonna say too, it is great to see that a lot of these, I feel like there's so many more I guess you could say higher end or better quality consignment stores.
Yep, they're popping up everywhere.
It's really a thing now, which is great. And they do have their stuff online, which is amazing, because yes, I'm the person, like, if I go into a store like that, I turn around and walk out, because I need to see, colors organized and all the shirts. So,
it's a mess.
It's absolutely overwhelming. So I like that. And then, these different little apps and stuff. I mean, wow. There are things that can make life a lot easier for us.
Exactly. And who knew they existed, right? And I bet there's more here or upcoming already. Yeah. But Honey for the win. I love it.
Okay, good to know. And then, so now, coming up in July, what happens going forward once you've done the no new clothes for a year? Do you think you're crazy and go on a shopping spree, or do you think, like, what are you going to do?
So definitely not on a shopping spree, because I feel like I still get a little bit, if I'm buying way too many things, even if it's non-clothing, I'm just like, do I really need this? I think this really has changed my mindset about how I shop for other things too, because I'm just restricting myself on clothing right now. So going forward, this is a recent challenge I saw on social media too, is that maybe stick to 1 new item per month. And if you don't want to do 1, maybe do 2, So my goal would be if I'm getting maximum 1 new item per month, and then that way I can also practice the thing about quality over quantity. Maybe I have more money to spend on than 1 item than buying several little items. And, and to be honest, the bottom line is I have saved a lot of money on clothing that I would have spent from clothing that I would have spent in the whole year. And it was great. So that's my future plan. After July, I'm gonna try maybe the capsule wardrobe, but 1 item, and then really see what I'm missing. So one thing, I've only thought of 1 thing in this 6 months is a long camel coat. Other than that, nothing. Yeah.
Good for you. Wow, that's amazing. But then you can save up for that 1 little item. I don't know, I'm still trying to save for that Gucci belt, but every time I try to save, I end up buying something else, and then...
Right. So that you have a landmark or goal you want to accomplish. So that's something to drive you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. This was wonderful. I think that, like I was saying in the beginning, the whole point of this wellness summit is to help others live a more beautiful 2021. And that could mean anything, right? There's so many different ways to live beautiful, but I think this really fits because, for people like me, just to be able to, have, follow your Instagram, have tips on how to style the wardrobe and not be just buying and adding to my closet and getting more stressed out because there's all these clothes I'm not wearing, right? So that's great. I'm just going to pull up here your information so that people can know where to find you. But I love sorry about that. There we go. So yes, your Instagram page, love, you're a fantastic photographer and model. So definitely people follow Maida. You will love the stuff that she has to share. And some of the services that you provide, virtual styling services. This is so what we need right now, because everything's moving virtual. We can't have people in our house. And yeah, with the technology, FaceTime, Zoom, it's easy enough to do.
Yeah.
Fit planning and accessorizing, this I had talked to you about before, because when I go, even if I go away on a weekend to Vegas or Vancouver or even to Banff, I pack, literally my suitcase is still 50 pounds for 3 days, because I pack everything. I don't know what I'm going to want to wear, what jewelry I'm going to have. So this, I think, is so important. I would love to have someone just help me, hey, I'm going to Banff. This is what I'm going to be doing. What would you suggest that I wear? Well, I'm sure you're really good at being able to I have a thing for purses and bags. Being able to know which ones to bring that will go with multiple outfits. And wardrobe organizing, yep, 100% need this too. So
we all do. This picture that's right beside me, the little put your closet monster on a diet, and I ran into this picture on IKEA. It's beside their PAX wardrobe system, which is really famous as well for closet organizing. And I just thought, this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to put my monster closet on a diet on both, it's not as stuffed anymore as it was in the last year. So I'm glad I did that.
Yeah, because I think that's the worst thing. Like, my closet is stuffed, and two, like, if I don't see it, I don't know it's there. I don't know what
exactly.
So that's great. No, I love it. So absolutely, if people have questions, Maida, then can they send you a message on
100%. Reach out to me. Let me know even if you're like, how the hell do I wear this orange shirt? Or I can see if I can find something for you. If not, I can scour the web for you. So I'll let you know.
Oh, love it. Oh my gosh, make my life easier. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate you joining us. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So much fun. So if any of you want to get in touch with Maida, Instagram, Maida's Touch. If, maybe not everyone's on Instagram, message me. I can, we'll figure out how to get you in touch. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much. And
thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Yes, you.
There you are.
Hello, I'm here.
How's it going?
Good. You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
That's fine. So I'll just do a little bit of an introduction.
Sure.
I'll be honest, Derek, there's a couple words I probably don't know how to pronounce, and I forgot to look them up.
That's okay.
Okay, so here we go. Oops, I want to cover that. Like my little makeshift. There we go. Okay, so this is Derek Fleming, owner of New Earth Organics. So for over 20 years, master herbalist Derek Fleming has studied plants as medicine, exploring the deep relationship between people, our earth, and the gifts that she provides. After graduating from university in Calgary in 2005, Derek took on a more serious approach to study the botanical medicine, and several years later earned the designation as master herbalist under the tutelage of world-renowned, sorry if I said that wrong, herbalist.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, okay, Dr. Terry Willard. Since then, Derek's specialty has been in the area of medicinal mushrooms, Chinese medicine, seasonal attunement, and Daoist tonic herbalism. In 2012, Derek furthered his passion for all things herbal by establishing a high-quality niche herb company called New Earth Organics, which is the best. Focuses on delivering unique whole offerings from each of the kingdoms of nature, the plant, fungi, and animal kingdoms. The mission of New Earth Organics is to honor the intelligence of nature while specializing in medicinal mushrooms, three treasured tonic herbs, and facilitating the practice of seasonal attunement, the application of herbs, diet, and lifestyle through circadian biology. Super cool. Derek's journey continues as he share and spread his passion about the amazing benefits of tonic herbalism and living in harmony with the cycles of nature. Phenomenal. Obviously,
Wait,
ton
quite
of
a mouthful.
What's that?
Quite a mouthful. Sorry about that.
No, it's great. I mean,
Good.
because what you do is so specialized, and yeah, no, it's no problem. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
So
for having me.
happy that you were able to be part of this. So
Great.
I'm going to stop sharing and you can take it away.
Great. Okay, well, let's get rolling into it. So we got a short amount of time, lots to go over. Just want to say thanks for having me here. It's always a good opportunity to get out and talk about things that are a little bit more unusual to the mainstream, things like medicinal mushrooms and tonic herbs. This quick slideshow I wanted to go through, I always think it's an important thing to have slides and kind of walk people through it, because then they can read and look while I'm talking. A lot of these concepts and things I'll be talking about may be a little bit more foreign to people. So I'm going to try to follow the slideshow as much as possible, try to get it all in. A lot of the herbs and concepts and things I'm going to say in here are literally hour-long discussions to each of their own, but we're going to try our best to fit it in here. I want to leave, I think we're going to leave about 10 minutes at the end for Q&A. So you can kind of write down your questions, get ready for the end, but let's get into it. So, excuse me, I'm going to talk about today about how to upgrade your immune system with tonic herbs and medicinal mushrooms. And I hope everyone can see my mouse. Kelly, can you give me a nod if you can see that mouse? Okay, great. So I use the word upgrade instead of boost. I'm going to go over why that is, but it's an important distinction when we're talking about tonic herbs and medicinal mushrooms. Upgrading your immune system, a little bit different than boosting. It's pretty exciting, and it's empowering knowledge to find out why that is. So we're going to get into it. Now, we literally have reached a point in humanity where, excuse me, I think that we're faced where we have to make a shift in our paradigm when it comes to health and wellness. Now more than ever in centuries past, have we needed to strategize the foods that we eat, the activities that we do, and the thoughts that we think. Because in case you've been living under a rock for the last year and a bit, we now know why our immune system is so important. We need to take care of ourselves. So embracing a new paradigm, which actually turns out to be, spoiler alert, an old paradigm on the planet, is how we do this. So synergizing our mind, body, soul with our foods, our activities, and even the thoughts that we think is paramount in today's day and age. So when we talk about the immune system, there's a harmony that needs to happen with the immune system. The immune system is this natural defense system. So now when we talk about the immune system, immediately people go and think, oh, colds and flus. This is something to ward off and protect us from cold and flus, which is true, but our immune system is so much more broad, so much more deep than just that. There's literally different levels to the immune system. So our immune system, while it does help protect us against things like colds and flus, we can also see that it protects us against things like infections, bacteria, toxins, parasites, environmental pollution, and a whole host, if not all, diseases, including mutant cells and something we know as cancers. That's all immune system related. So it is important that we have a strong immune system. We can even take this further where our immune system dictates our allergies to food and environment. So we really need to embrace this harmony of the immune system, getting it all firing on all cylinders, or aligning all the pillars of that immune system to really give us this strong natural defense system. Excuse me. So how do we do that? What's my answer for that? Well, this is where we need to start, like I say, honoring the intelligence of nature. There's a wisdom and a magic or an intelligence to nature. So we need to start embracing this more. Now, how do we do that? It's through the practice of something called tonic herbalism. Now, I'm going to go over this and define it, so don't feel overwhelmed. I know this looks like a lot to digest, and we're going to do our best here in the next 20 minutes, but just stick with me. I'm going to give you some answers and some clues here. But we really need to embrace something called tonic herbalism. Now, what is tonic herbalism? Well, tonic herbalism is actually the most sophisticated and effective herbal system in the world. It stems from the Taoist tradition you're probably familiar if you're watching this, of Chinese medicine, but it stems from the Taoist tradition of Taoist tonic herbalism. The Taoist fundamental philosophy is living in harmony with nature. In a nutshell, Taoism is living in harmony with nature. This is so important. Maybe will give you some little side references you can Google or look up yourself to kind of get more familiar with this. But you can look up something called circadian biology. That's living in harmony with the sun cycles. Our body has a clock, right? Our sleep and wake cycles, our digestive system, everything has a clock. It's tuned to the sun, right? This is living in harmony with nature. Now, Taoist tonic herbalism in general emphasizes the promotion of health rather than the elimination of a disease. So this is a counter or different approach than what we face in our modern day environment, where we're always focused on the elimination of a disease. This would be an allopathic approach to health, right? This is what we get from our conventional Western medicine. Now, there's a time and a place, there's no right or wrong, but Taoism is the other flip side. It's the feminine aspect of that masculine side of allopathy. Allopathy would be, we get a headache, we take a Tylenol to stop that headache. That's a hard and fast approach to it. Now, while it does work in effective short term, it's not promoting health and wellness. We want to have a promotion of health where we're aligning a holistic approach to our health that we can eliminate the possibility of this headache ever coming around, if that makes sense. So what I will say, because again, this is a new kind of shift or idea for most people that are unfamiliar with it, to reassure yourself, it is something that has been practiced successfully for over 3,000 years. This is 5,000 years in the making, but successfully dialed up and tuned in for the last 3,000 years. So no modern approach to health or wellness, no conventional fad, even conventional medicine, nothing has that proven record of a 3,000 year successful proven record and effective record as tonic herbalism. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Now, what is a tonic herb? There's a few different definitions of this, but a tonic herb is an herb that promotes a long, healthy, vibrant, happy life without side effects. That's a big one, without side effects, even when taken over a long period of time. These tonic herbs are thought more appropriately as tonic foods. So these are super type foods, super type herbs, things that we can consume that will help attune or benefit our being beyond that of most common foods or herbs. So when we look at the whole system of traditional Chinese medicine or Western herbology, in China, they draw on about 400 different herbs. The tonic herbs are the upper echelon of those herbs. If you were to draw a pyramid, right, it would be the capstone on that pyramid. These are the top, let's say 25 herbs out of that whole system. They are super in their activity. And you'll see here down in the corner, these are certain characteristics, that tonic herbs have to go through or have to attain over 1,000 years of use in order to be considered an actual tonic herb. So the safety, the effectiveness is unparalleled to anything that we know nowadays when it comes to conventional health. But in a nutshell, again, if this is overwhelming, in a nutshell, tonic herbalism and tonic herbs in general, the best way you can think about that is we're taking little bits of substances, these tonic herbs, these tonic foods, little bits of them over longer periods of time for extreme, profound health shifting benefits. Okay, so it's little bits often. This is the quintessential lifestyle shift. When I was saying before, a paradigm shift, this is the quintessential shift in how you live your life. It's a real lifestyle shift, right? We're taking little bits of these herbs ongoing for long periods. So we take little bits now, consistent use to avoid big problems later, said another way, right? This is a prophylactic approach to health, okay? So now when we look at those 25 herbs and when we look at tonic herbalism in general, the core of tonic herbs and tonic herbalism is medicinal mushrooms. So medicinal mushrooms are at the center of this system So effective, so safe, and we're going to get into that now. Now, there is other herbs I want to say that I could talk about. If we have enough time, I will mention a few other ones that I recommend people consume in today's modern world, especially present situation. But for now, we're going to get into medicinal mushrooms. So the fungi kingdom. Medicinal mushrooms in the fungi kingdom in general have this, allure to them, this mystery to them. But there is a lot of fear that comes with mushrooms, right? People are usually weirded out by it or either attracted to it. And my job here is to kind of get you over that fear and start to embrace the fungi kingdom. You can think of fungi kingdom, the medicinal mushrooms, as literally food for the immune system. These are tonic foods, right? So they're feeding the immune system. Now, just a little bit of background, and I got to keep my eye on time here, but a little bit of background is when we look at this life cycle of a mushroom, what we know commonly as a mushroom is this portion here. Whoops, I'm going to go back, is this portion here. Now, technically, that's actually the fruit of the mushroom. The mushroom pops up this fruit in order to reproduce. The actual mushroom is called a mycelium. So this is the genetic component. This would be down in the soil, would be in the wood, wherever you'd find it in nature. But this is a fine network of intelligence. And when they need to reproduce, or when that mushroom species needs to reproduce, it pops up a fruit, would be right this, a fruiting body. We can consume all parts of the medicinal mushroom, and we don't need to get too into down the rabbit hole into the minutia of medicinal mushrooms in general, but just for some proper terminology, in case I mentioned the fruiting body, that's what we're talking about. And then the mycelium, this down here. And this is my little baby daughter. We're out foraging for mushrooms. It's a great activity, but as a word of caution, don't pick any mushrooms or consume any wild mushrooms unless you're 1,000% sure what it is, because some can be harmful in the wild. So a little bit of a fun fungi facts I'd like to share with everybody, little fun facts from the fungi kingdom. So whether you're aware of it or not, us as humans are closer to mushrooms than mushrooms are to plants. We actually share an estimated 67% of our DNA with mushrooms. Mushrooms breathe oxygen and emit CO2 just like us. Now, mushrooms have existed on the earth for 1.3 billion years minimum. That's what we know of. Now, why is this important? They have been here so much longer than us. They've seen everything that has been thrown at us come and go over 1.3 billion years. Their evolution far exceeds humans. They have learned how to become and evolve extremely resistant to diseases, viruses, bacteria, chemicals, and even environmental stress factors. So here's the gap in the, what do you want to call the mind meld that people need to make when it comes to medicinal mushrooms specifically, is they're an herb or a tonic food that doesn't necessarily fight for us, meaning we take them, it's going to fight off a virus or bacteria. They actually work with our body. You can think of them as software programs from nature. We're taking these mushrooms, we're consuming them, we're loading them into our hardware, which is our physical body, and it's going to function like a program does on a computer. So when we're consuming medicinal mushrooms, we're actually biohacking their immune system, their 1.3 billion year old immune system. Now, funny enough, with evolution or creation, whatever you believe, there's certain compounds in these medicinal mushrooms that they're made up of called polysaccharides, long chain sugar molecules. When we consume these medicinal mushrooms, they go down into our stomach, they hit our intestines, they hit a specific area of the intestines with the villi, called the Peyer's patches. And you can think of it as like a barcode scanner when you go to the grocery store. You're running over a barcode scanner, bleep, it's bleeping, it's uploading information to the mainframe. Well, these polysaccharides, when they pass that system, that portion in the intestines, they're actually uploading software into our body, directing our body and our immune system to be better, to upgrade, right? Not just boost, to upgrade. And we'll get into that because they have a raising and lowering modulating effect. But back to these, because this is an important part to know though. They've evolved, so we're biohacking and consuming their immune system to work for us, with us. We can see that it's reported that mushrooms were in contact with radiation during the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, yet emerged entirely unscathed. So when we're talking about environmental stress factors, they've even learned how to be resistant to full-on nuclear meltdown. So probably pretty powerful for protecting our cell structures when it comes to radiation. Now, whether you know it or not, mushroom spores are ubiquitous. They're everywhere in our environment. Every breath you take, you breathe in roughly 10 to 40 mushroom spores. So they're on our skin, they're in our hair, if you have any hair, they're in the crinkles of our ears, they're everywhere. It's ubiquitous. They're basically all around us. We're swimming in them all the time, which is kind of a mind trip for people. But it's also interesting to know that roughly 40% modern day pharmaceuticals are actually contained or derived from fungi. They produce natural antibiotic compounds and certain compounds that are just mind-blowing, and they've been able to actually harness up to 40% of pharmaceuticals to utilize this. Now, the fungi kingdom in general is what I like to call the greatest ally for the modern era, right? They are our greatest ally for today's day and age. If you're not on shrooms right now, you need to be, is what I always say to people. So what I like to say is that they're anti-everything. So we see a lot of research, scientific data demonstrating their antibacterial effects, their antiviral effects, anti-tumoral effects, anti-cancer effects, anti-diabetic effects, anti-radiation effects, anti-inflammatory effects, antibiotic, and immunomodulating. So here's a big distinction, and I'll get into it now in case I forget to later. When we're talking about boosting the immune system, that would be a one-way direction to ramp up the immune system. We find with medicinal mushrooms and actually a lot of immune supporting herbs from the herbal kingdom, not all, but a lot, they're immunomodulating, which means they can upregulate the immune system or downregulate the immune system. So where would they downregulate your immune system? In cases of autoimmunity, an overactive immune system. This is a very important point. So most of us have a depressed immune system in today's world due to environmental pollution, toxins, yada, yada, yada. We can't get into too much of that, but there is a large portion of the population that are growing that have an overactive or an autoimmune function. So we need to bring down that hot, fiery immune system, bring them back into harmony and balance. That's where we can get the healing. And medicinal mushrooms are amazing at that and only work with a modulating effect. Now, true, some are better than others, and we'll get into that, but at the very core, they are all immunomodulating. Again, by making your body immunomodulate. They're not doing it for you. They're uploading to make your body work better, centered, coherent, and in balance. So some of the mushrooms I want to quickly go over. I got some pictures here, but it's reishi mushroom. Beautiful mushroom. It actually, a lot of people, when they see reishi mushroom, the Latin name is Ganoderma, which translates to shiny skin. It looks like the mushroom has been lacquered. It actually grows like that, beautiful and shiny. Another one I want to talk about is scarlet cordyceps or cordyceps. This is a club mushroom, grows off of insects. We're going to quickly talk about turkey tail. This one is a big heavy hitter for today's day and age. And something called chaga mushroom. This is another wood type mushroom, just like the reishi is a wood mushroom. You couldn't go up to it and chew it. It's hard like wood. Club mushroom is soft, but you still wouldn't necessarily eat it like a normal mushroom. This is a polypore, slightly woody mushroom. Chaga is hard as wood, hard as a rock. This grows off birch trees, and you'll find that in our local forests along with turkey tail and a few mushrooms that we might have time to go over as well. But when we talk about these mushrooms, now again, there's a lot of overlap, okay? So all medicinal mushrooms are good for the immune system. They're food for the immune system. All will immunomodulate, but they each have their own claim to fame. So reishi mushroom is known as the, I like to say that the king or queen of the mushroom kingdom. It is your one-stop shop. If you just wanted to take one medicinal mushroom, reishi mushroom pretty much nails and checks all the boxes off. So it's been around, used for more than 5,000 years. It has a really effective ability to modulate the immune system up or down, and a really powerful anti-inflammatory effect, but it is, out of all of them, the anti-stress mushroom. So if you're dealing with any sort of mental stress or physical stress, reishi mushroom is what you want to have in your diet. We also see that it's a nerve tonic, so good for the nerves, liver protective, kidney protective, helps with even cerebral inflammation. We find that it's got tumor preventing compounds, really good for the lungs and respiratory conditions, something I want to wink, wink, nudge, nudge everybody on. I'm going to mention a lot of the top lung supportive medicinal mushrooms. But an all-around one-stop shop, or like I also like to say, is a D, all of the above, you know, Scantron multiple choice, D, all of the above, reishi mushroom does it all. Another one is the scarlet cordyceps. So this is that club mushroom. It is best known as the strongest lung tonic out of all the medicinal mushrooms. It actually works on the alveoli in the lungs to help you assimilate oxygen and absorb oxygen better into the body. So this is really good to protect the lungs, to strengthen the lungs. And through that process, it's going to give us a lot more energy in our day-to-day life. Now, this is not a stimulant. It's very robust and healing and supportive, not a stimulant, but does increase your energy capacity. So, and I think we all in today's day and age could use a little bit more juice in the caboose. So scarlet cordyceps, definitely energy increasing, but also that powerful lung tonic. Really good also as an adrenal tonic. So it's also a really good stress or anti-stress mushroom. Really good for anyone who's got some kidney issues or just dealing with any sort of that lower body problems in their health. One area I want to mention specifically with cordyceps is it's known to boost the flow and activity specifically of the mesenteric lymph nodes. Those are your lymph nodes that line your intestines. You've probably heard, or if you're not familiar, but they say about 80% of our immune system is in our intestines. This is what they're talking about. It's the mesenteric lymph nodes. So anytime we can support that, because it helps combat a poor diet, poor digestion, we're going to take a burden off our overall immune system, and it's going to help us live our best lives ever. So for the sake of time, I'm going to keep moving on here. Chaga mushroom. Chaga mushroom is one of the more well-known mushrooms nowadays. We usually break it up into pieces and make a really nice tea. It's kind of a coffee dark tea. Grows, like I said, in the wild off birch trees. Its real claim to fame is its high antioxidant content. So it's got an extremely high ORAC value. So this is the oxygen radical absorbing capacity value of up to 52,000. When we look at a wild blueberry, is at most 13,000. Usually they're about 9,000. So chaga pretty much blows it out of the water. Chaga also has absorbable form of superoxide dismutase. Now don't get over inundated with all this terminology, but just know that this superoxide dismutase is the most powerful antioxidant that your body actually produces. And when we have sluggish liver or due to lifestyle or due to age, we start producing as much superoxide dismutase. So when we can get it in the body, what does that mean? That means anti-aging. So chaga in a roundabout way is a beauty tonic, right? It's going to protect the organs, protect the skin, right? Help with those wrinkles and aging, situations of aging. One other quick thing I want to talk about with chaga is the pigment, the black pigment is called melanin. And melanin actually feeds our pineal gland, right? And our pineal gland is the whole beginning point of our circadian rhythm. So your sleep and wake cycles, your digestive cycles, your hormone flux, all that starts with the pineal gland governing our circadian biology. And when we have a proper circadian biology, we're definitely in better health. We also produce more melatonin from the pineal gland, and that will give us a more restful, long sleep, okay? Something I wanna say now in case I get no time at the end or I forget to say at the end is medicinal mushrooms aren't a cure-all or a point of obtaining false hope in anything, thinking, oh yeah, this is everything for me. Nothing combats the pillars of health when you're talking about your immune system, which is proper diet, sunshine, clean air, proper sleep is probably the number one, clean water, exercise. All those pillars of health have to be met if you want the best, most robust immune system. Medicinal mushrooms are the icing on the cake. or they're like the training wheel on the bike. They will help you cheat through life, but we really need to address those pillars to get the most robust life that we can. But all starting with a proper rest, a proper night's sleep is number one, okay? That's number one. Now, turkey tail mushrooms, the final mushroom I'm gonna mention for today. Turkey tail mushroom, in a nutshell, in my opinion, is the immune mushroom. It is the immune system mushroom. They're all good for your immune system. They all feed your immune system. But turkey tail in today's day and age, it is a must in my opinion. Turkey tail is a lung tonic as well, but it is a powerful upregulator and downregulator of the immune system, protects your cell structure like no other mushroom. It is actually the most well-documented mushroom in scientific research. There's over 400 published studies on the effectiveness of turkey tail. It is used and a lot of these studies, I should say, were done as adjunctive therapy in cancer treatments, so radiation specifically. The turkey tail mushroom was used to protect the healthy cells around the area that was being irradiated. So if turkey tail can protect your cells under full-on doses of radiation, imagine what it's doing in our day-to-day life, right? Protecting all those somatic cells in the body is so important. We find through study and analysis as well that a combination of turkey tail with shiitake mushroom was shown to increase our natural killer cell activity by a factor of 5 in just 2 months of consistent use. So you're getting a 5x increase of your immune system in just 2 months. That's a 400% increase. And that's just with consistent use. And I believe that was done with only 1 gram or 2 grams a day, right? Normal maintenance dose. This shows you the power of these tonic herbs. Little bits taken often, consistently, can avoid big problems later, right? Also, amazing liver mushroom, turkey tail. As you can probably read down here, jaundice, hepatitis C. It, again, in today's day and age, we have a burdening happening on our liver. Our livers take abuse from things from fat, chemical toxicity, all these things in our environment. It all bungs up our liver. Our liver is so important that it can regenerate itself. We need to take care of our liver. The Chinese actually call the liver the organ of 100 diseases. So when your liver's out of balance, you can manifest a lot of issues. So turkey tail is one of these ones that shines for the liver. Now, this is all overwhelming to everybody. You can find mushroom blends out there on the market. We produce 2 with our company. We produce a 5 mushroom blend and a 16 mushroom blend. And what I like to tell people is when you're starting out, you can take any of these medicinal mushrooms by themselves, but science and tradition both show that medicinal mushrooms work best in combination. So the more, the better, right? It's not like that for many foods and many herbs, but with medicinal mushrooms, the more we can consume in combination, the better. So what I tell people, if you're new to this, don't know where to begin, get on a blend product. Doesn't need to be from us. Could be, there's lots on the market, lots of really good blend products out there. But starting with a blend product, and then maybe if you're really stressed out, you take a little bit more ratio on top of that. Or you need some sort of extra immune system help, so you take some turkey tail on top of that, right? We compound these things and build. And we don't look at this when you're talking about tonic herbalism as I need to get everything in every single day. A consistent use means how do we look at our last week? Did we take these things over the last week, the last 10 days? If you miss a day, that's no problem. These are tonic foods, right? They continue their activity in the body. So we look at the last week, oh yeah, I had reishi mushroom or the 5 mushroom blend, 3 to 4 times a week. You're golden, right? It's that consistent lifestyle shift that we want to obtain and strive towards. Now, sky's the limit when how we can use the medicinal mushrooms, and I'll get into that at the end. But one of the favorite ways in my household and things I'll do at events and at talks is we'll actually use the liver life and we'll season popcorn with it. So we'll literally just sprinkle it on, right? These things don't have to be choked down, and you can take them with water and down it for sure, but incorporating these foods into our different recipes, like throwing some into a chili recipe or a spaghetti recipe, or like we do, throw it on popcorn, it is what you want to do, right? You want to involve these in your everyday life. So having said that, none of these medicinal mushrooms will work for you if you're not compliant. Compliance is the key to your results. So your results equal the effectiveness times the compliance. We know over thousands of years that these herbs are very effective. It's up to you to be compliant to get the results that you're after. So again, you can consume these mushrooms, these products anyway. We're a little bit over time. I got one more slide, if that's okay, Kelly. I got a recipe for everybody, but we want to embrace, something called tonic herbalism through a daily elixir. So this is where we make a tasty drink. As I'm pointing at my screen, should be using my cursor. We make a tasty drink that, we're not just having to choke things down. We make it taste good. One example is this is a chaga chocolate milk. This is where you're taking, just a store-bought vanilla or chocolate almond milk, putting in some medicinal mushroom powders, putting in a fat source. Medicinal mushrooms actually work better and absorb better with a fat. So it could be a coconut butter, raw cashews, could be almonds, but usually these two I find are the best and make the creamiest, silkiest drink. A little bit of sea salt. Sea salt will bind all your flavors together. It'll enhance the activity. That's a whole other topic on another day. But we blend that all up, can serve that warm or cold, and we're good to go, right? You can have a nice medicinal chocolate milk to enjoy throughout the day. So take a screenshot of this, everybody, or take a photo with your phone. Write this down. But this is just an example of many things that we can do to incorporate these medicinal mushrooms into our life to help upgrade our immune system. So thanks, everybody. That's the slides I have for today. Is Kelly back on the line here?
Yeah. Wow. Yes, and I drink my daily elixir with the Liver Life right now, but after this talk, I'm going to incorporate some of the others for sure.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah, no. Wow. All I can say, you are a wealth of knowledge when it comes to mushrooms. A couple of things to note. I loved how you talked about actually taking it consistently for a longer period of time is better, because I know with certain supplements, you don't want to take them for so long. So I feel good about myself now. I started out with reishi on recommendation from you, like, oh gosh, I don't know, 15 years ago. And I used to have severe seasonal allergies, and now I barely get a runny nose. Like,
yeah.
100%. Some of you who know my sister, 5 years ago was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer that spread to her liver. And yes, she absolutely incorporated all the pillars to health, but I know that she does put a lot of value to taking a lot of these mushrooms to modulate her immune system. And that was the other thing too that I found so interesting. And now it makes sense when I think about the reishi and the allergies or hypersensitivity, when you talked about the immunomodulating effects and how even for people with autoimmune, like how you really modulate that. I mean,
exactly. And the anti-inflammatory effect, right, for allergies works in combination, right? Getting inflammation out of our organs, out of our body, right? And that immunomodulating effect, that's how we get this true holistic approach to health instead of just taking something that shuts the signal off. There's a time and a place for it all, but this approach is how we upgrade our health. And just one more point I'd like to mention on that too is there's no limit, sky limit to how much you can build your immune system. That's the fantastic part. Medicinal mushrooms have been evolving for billions of years. So with your consistent use, you actually become a healthier and healthier and healthier human being. So we can never forget that, right? We're upgrading constantly, right? We're keeping us updated to the top iOS, but yeah.
Yeah. No, fantastic. Oh my goodness. Love this whole day. I've been learning so much. I'm so excited to rewatch this. And I have to take more notes, Derek.
Nice. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, we're a little bit over time. So
Sure.
In terms of people who have questions for you, which I'm sure they do, I mean, you've got a lot of information on your website as well. You are on social media all the time. So if they want to get in touch with you, would you say like maybe your website is the best way to kind of?
Yeah, so the best way, I think, actually, we'll be doing regular issues of a newsletter coming out where I'm going to be doing videos and article writing and stuff. And I think nowadays that's the best way. Otherwise, I'd say look at my schedule for my public talks and stuff, but because that's on hold for a little while, if you go to our website and sign up for our newsletter, or you can reach out to us on our socials. I do have someone that helps me with it, so it's not me directly on the socials, but still you can drop us a line there. But our newsletter is going to be a real good outreach for people, and a lot of support. We're going to have recipes in there, information, and it's going to help hold your hand through this until you get more confident to kind of take it on your own and, you know, embrace everything that's out there. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
I mean, you could go on, I'm sure, for
yeah. But this is a good starting point for people. So
yeah, exactly. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. And there at the end of this, there are 10 people entered into the grand prize draw, which
exciting. Okay, great.
Yeah, there's a pretty good, good.
Yeah, that's good. We'll make it worth their while to win it. So no, that's awesome. And like I always say, it sounds cheesy, but may the forest be with you. And enjoy your day. Thanks again for having me.
Thanks, Derek. Take care.
Bye.
Okay. Oh my goodness, I can't believe we are on to our last speaker. So we have got Chelsea. Chelsea, are you on? There you are.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. So I'll just do a little bit of an introduction here for Chelsea. All right. So we've got Chelsea Jani. She's been working in Calgary as a registered nurse for years, but later in her career as a staff nurse, she worked on a rehab unit, which led her to her passion for older adults. Chelsea and her husband started a private home care company in North Calgary called the Home Instead franchise, which I'm sure you've seen the commercials. And Chelsea was able to grow this company and was very successful, not only at the business aspect, but most importantly, changing the face of aging and improving the lives of adults with health complications and their caregivers as well. So she has been involved in multiple organizations and advocacy boards in Calgary, supporting older adults and their caregivers. Chelsea and her husband recently sold their business, but she continues to pursue her passion, and you will definitely, and we look forward to it, see you around in the future advocating for caregivers and their families. She also has 3 young children, which she's been doing it all, that keep her busy and full of life. So really excited to have you here, Chelsea, speaking with us. So go ahead and.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, like I say, there's some great topics. That last one, Derek, wow, I didn't even know that whole world. That's amazing. That's very interesting. So I'm going to talk a little bit today. We're going to go about caregiver stress, burnout, ways to avoid it. Some of it might be common sense. Some of it might just be something to bring awareness and some education and just to make you think a little bit going, maybe that's me, or maybe that's a cousin or my uncle or mom or dad. So we'll get into that. I'll talk a little bit here about me. Kelly introduced me, and I'll talk a little bit more here. So I'm a registered nurse, like she says. My career started maternity, moved to rehab, and from that it kind of blossomed into senior care. I was the owner and director of care of a private home care company here in Calgary for the past 4 years, and also president of Alberta Association of Registered Nurses in Alberta, which is a subspecialty group of our licensing body. A dementia and Alzheimer's expert, just from my life experience and some of the research and some of the courses I've taken. I've participated on many advocacy boards, senior community groups, as well as I'm a strong caregiver advocate. I think that's where a lot of my passion lies. As she mentioned, I'm a mom of 3 beautiful children, wife of a charming man. He's definitely helped me with supporting me in my success, and we're a good team together. So we'll get started here. Some caregiver statistics. It's just interesting because it gives you an idea and kind of a grasp of how large caregiving truly is. So worldwide, there's roughly about 350 million people that are estimated to be care dependent, and of whom 18 million are children aged under the age of 15 years, and 101 million are older adults, 60 years of age and older. So among this family caregivers, majority are caring for their mother or father. There's a small percentage caring for their spouse or for a child, and then the remaining is family members or friends. So you're caring for an uncle or a cousin, that type of scenario. Caregivers perform a variety of tasks throughout the week, and so it can be anywhere from 10 hours a week, you drop by once in a while in the evening or a weekend, or majority spend 20 hours or more caring for a loved one. Social and financial support that caregivers receive can often mitigate some of the negative impacts that are associated with caregiving, such as increased stress, financial difficulties, even physical and mental health problems. So as you can see, caregiving is a very real thing that many among us are dealing with. It's in everyone's lives to some degree, even if you don't really realize it. So it could be a mom caring for grandma at home or visiting her weekly in a facility, taking that time. A son caring for his mom with Alzheimer's who lives in his basement, or a grandchild who is working, going to university. They're the ones responsible for checking in on grandma and grandpa. So there's a lot of different ways that we see this. So I have a short clip here. It shows a day in the life of a caregiver. It's kind of a touching video. It shows you the compassion and the hard work that it takes to be a full-time caregiver. So bear with me, it's 2 minutes. I really wanted to share it because it just gives you such a good picture.
You're
and
gonna
the
make
heart
me cry.
of what a caregiver. Very possible. It made me cry. All right, so here, just listen in and I'll get this going. One sec.
Hello, rise and shine. Okay. Okay.
7, 8, 9. He said.
No, good.
She said. Holy moly. Okay. Better than mine. Keep your hands up.
Yeah, okay, flip. There you go.
It's such a good one. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
So good, I know. So that just kind of gives you an idea of the life of a caregiver and just how, oh, Kelly, stop. So it just is such a simple way, 2 minutes just in the life from the start, from the time a lot of people, from the time they wake up to evening, they're nonstop giving of themselves. And they're just constantly, they love it. It's something that they want to do for a loved one, but it's a lot. And so we're going to talk a little bit about caregiver burnout and how to take care of yourself. So first, How can you combat caregiver stress and avoid burnout while being supportive and still giving care to a spouse, family member, or friend? So we're going to discuss the risks of caregiver burnout first. Some of the ways that, do you feel any symptoms of depression? Is that something that's creeping up on you? Do you feel like you're being pulled in multiple directions? You have kids in sports. Right now, we've got so many ways that life has been some ways simplified, but in some ways complicated. Some people now are working from home. They're teaching their kids school from home. They've got things on their plate. Plus now they're at home with a loved one, like so many different ways. So are you pulled in many directions? Do you feel like you're trapped in your role as a caregiver? You don't have support? Is there conflict amongst the people closest to you and the person that you're caring for? That can be challenging. Do you feel like you're not getting enough support from other people? Right now, the COVID-19 worldwide pandemic makes this even more challenging. Caregivers' needs can go unseen, and the caregiver cannot access as many resources as what they used to. So we'll go through that in a little bit, but to continue some risks of caregiver burnout, do you feel like you're unable to meet the expectations and needs, so physical and emotional, of the person that you're caring for? Are you unable to communicate effectively with others around you? You just don't know how to ask for help. You don't know what to talk about. And you kind of feel like no one else is going through this as well. You don't, and that's why that statistic of millions are going through this. So you might not even know, but it's there. Is your health or the health of the person you're caring for getting worse? So for yourself, it could be weight gain or loss. You're irritated or more angry, frequent headaches or some illnesses coming along. Do you feel overwhelmed? So maybe you've been feeling these things, but have not tied it to being a caregiver. I hope today that this will open your eyes to see how important it is to take care of yourself. So caregiving during COVID. As the COVID-19 situation, as it's evolving, there can be heightened feelings of stress, anxiety, isolation. It can be challenging to stay connected, to make sure that you're researching your local resources. So I know within my little Calgary bubble, I know a lot of our resources here, but all governments and communities are going to have those social supports and those resources. So looking those up, trying to branch out and research that. Connecting with peer support groups right now can be worldwide, on Facebook, on Zoom. There's multiple different ways to connect, or even just local within your community. Looking at what your local government is doing to support caregivers during the pandemic and possible lockdowns that are in your area right now. So sometimes it could be time off of work that you're needing, so they'll financially support that, financial assistance, or if you have to take weeks off of work. Doing some digging in that. It's amazing how many people don't even think to look in if they can get time off of work and have that financial help from caregiving, but it does. I know in Canada specifically that we do have those resources and to help with that. So we're definitely supported in that way. And just knowing that you're not alone. If you're like many caregivers, you have a hard time asking for help. And unfortunately, this is the attitude that can lead to being isolated, frustrated, and often depressed. So rather than struggling on your own, take advantage of local resources for caregivers. You'd be shocked how many people find a community and connect when they just try to branch out and get that support. So we're going to check your well-being checklist here. So I have a few points just that are suggestions. Start with one, build your way up. You don't need to tackle it all at once, but in one way, changing your life and kind of taking a look at your well-being will make a difference. So first one, exercise at home, even going for a walk, something simple. You don't have to have a strict routine, just getting some mobility in. It's hard to find time for yourself after a long day, possibly working, making sure that you're getting settled and into bed, but sleep is crucial for mental health. So important for everyone to be able to regain that mental capacity while you sleep. So if you're having trouble with that, speaking to your doctor about it. Visit with a nutritionist if you need help achieving simple nutritionist meals. Might be something that you can't eat 3 big meals. It's too much to kind of organize, but even if it's 4 to 5 small nutritious meals, just something that's giving you that energy and that brain power to get through the day. Maybe you used to knit or play a sport. It's important to not lose your identity in the midst of caregiving. Often caregivers just become the role of caregiver. They lose, they just don't have time anymore to do those special things. And so getting that extra support so that you're able to do those again. These two kind of go together, 5 and 6, that talk with a friend or relatives about the caregiving, and sometimes don't discuss caregiving at all, just to get out and have a laugh and just be able to be yourself again. So this is the hardest, doing something special for myself at least once a week. I mean, I get it. You got kids, a spouse, you have work, whatever it is in your life. This is hard at the best of times when life gets busy. But if you have a defined activity, set it in your calendar weekly, you're more likely to achieve this. So it's kind of all of those, excuse me, research that shows if you put it, excuse me, putting it in your calendar as a set activity, then you're able, most likely, if it pops up as an alarm, go do this right now. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, maybe I should do that.
Workmen stand on ladders as they apply a fresh coat of paint to the crown molding of the Titusville Opera House. John R.
Right. Point. We had some bit of noise there. And also great resources and webinars are needed on how to get sorted legal and financial papers, including your wills, having that in order and all available. That's a huge, huge aspect. I can't stress that enough. I don't know how many families I've come across where something urgent happened and all of a sudden, like, they don't have access to the will. They don't know where the will is. There is no will. So it's so important, even if you're 25 years old, to get things in order, especially if you're caring for a loved one. It's very important. Keeping your annual medical and dental appointments. Don't let your health deteriorate. You're just as important. And so to remember that. All right. What is self-care? We've talked a lot about it today in different ways of how to live your best life and kind of self-care integrated into that. So when you're told, take care of yourself, what does that even mean? It's what you do just for you. It's not the things that you have to do. So it's not school, work, housework. I mean, maybe someone enjoys that, sure. Errands, caregiving. It includes taking care of yourself in 4 main ways. So physically, your health and wellness, psychologically, so that stress reduction, emotionally, and spiritually. So caregivers often think of self-care as selfish or that they feel they're just too busy. It's common for caregivers to put themselves last and to neglect themselves. But if you're not your best self, who will continue to care for your loved one when you're possibly gone? Did you know that statistics show that caregivers are more likely to pass away before the one they care for? So I'll let that sit in. Did you know that caregivers are more likely to pass away before the one that they care for? That's why self-care is so important. There's lists on the webs of how to take care of yourself and reduce stress. Just Google that. How to reduce stress. If you have no idea what are ways that work for you, we'll kind of use this slide here. Some tips of ways to decrease stress. Just a few tips. There are many, many ways that you can help to relieve your stress, but we'll go through these. So anticipating your needs, knowing your body and your mental health, believing in yourself, verbally saying affirmations to yourself in the morning and giving yourself confidence that you can do this, that you can get through the day. Have goals set for yourself. Take a bubble bath. Simple as that sometimes. Go for a long walk, maybe somewhere new, just some fresh air and just getting out. Break large tasks into bite-sized pieces, so don't be overwhelmed by the big picture, but break them down and write down simple ways that you can start. Ask a friend for a hug. I know right now, maybe just, I don't know. It's different now. Figure out a different way. Yeah, a virtual hug. Read a poem, keep a journal or meditate. Sometimes there's 2-minute meditation videos on YouTube. Don't tell me you don't have time for that. Strive for excellence, not perfection. Nobody's perfect, especially being a caregiver. Oh, there's so many ways that a day can go wrong, and that's okay. So, final thoughts. How to live a more beautiful 2021 year. And thank you, Kelly, for doing this. This is fabulous. So I hope this encourages you to look a little deeper into self-care if you're a caregiver, to know that there are options and ways to get help, that you're not alone. So do a little bit of digging for your local resources and find that admitting you're struggling or burning out isn't admitting weakness, but that realizing to be better and to do better, you need self-care and support. These are a few books that are just recommended that are kind of quicker reads that are really good. So kind of go through here, Caregiver's Stress Handbook, Family Caregivers, just some good stories. The Conscious Caregiver, Cruising Through Caregiving, so reducing stress, caring for your loved one, and Relaxation and Stress. So I'll leave those up for a second there. You could just look that up on the web. There's lots of different ones, but these are some good options out there for caregiving. Most of them are accessible that you can buy on Amazon or Indigo. So that was quick, I know, but thank you for listening. I hope that this brought awareness to caregiver burnout, either for yourself or someone you know who is a caregiver. If it's for yourself, look for local resources, support groups. If you know of someone who's a caregiver, ask them how they're doing. Ask for ways that you can help and let them know that they're noticed and that they're heard. So this quote by Dana Reeve is, "It is so important as a caregiver not to become so enmeshed in the role that you lose yourself. It's neither good for you nor a loved one." So thank you for listening.
Wow, thank you, Chels. Thanks for making me cry. Oh, that was so touching.
Yeah, it was good.
This information is so important. Even if it doesn't apply to everyone in this moment, at some point it tends to apply to most people, right? Mm-hmm. So really, really great tips. And you know what? I found a lot of the stuff that you were talking about, is these tips of taking care of yourself are good for anyone, right? Caregiver or not. Absolutely. I think that people who are in the role of caregiving tend to, like you said, they get so enmeshed in it among with trying to take care of their own family, and they just kind of forget about themselves. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was really, really helpful.
Good.
I'm just going to share. So I know that you are in transition, but we've got, let me just pull this up here.
I don't have specific contact, but it's kind of weird not to be tied to anything. That's the life of an entrepreneur. You're kind of like in the middle of things right now. So I've got a path, but as of right now.
Yeah, exactly. And you've already done great things. From a young age and for your own family, and then having this company. So are you okay if people, just get in with you if they want more resources, or
sure.
Just a way to kind of, and then if something, or when something new comes along, you can they can get in touch with you that way too.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
So again, I can't thank you all enough for attending the first annual Live Beautiful Wellness Summit, and to all the speakers. I mean, thank you so much for sharing your expertise to help others live a more beautiful 2021. I learned so much today. I can't even tell you how touched I am and how blessed and grateful I feel that I was able to have all of these speakers in one place. And I'm just really looking forward to keeping in contact with everyone and supporting each of them. So all of the speakers' bios and links to their websites are available on my website, which is livebell.ca. So if you need to get in touch with them, you can go there. It's under the Wellness Summit tab. And feel free, of course, to contact me with any questions at all, questions, comments, feedback, concerns. I'm open to it all, so feel free to message me. But before we do the draw, I just want to leave you with this. So obviously, as you heard today, living beautiful means many different things to many different people, but they all had one theme in common, which really was love. Love for yourself, love for others. And in the end, it doesn't matter what level of education you have, how much money you made, what car you drove, or how successful you were. All that matters is how you treated other people. And hopefully that's with love. So thank you so much for attending today, and have a beautiful 2021.